We've all probably seen those big three collages. They sometimes include Goku, where it's Ichigo with all abilities or all Bankai versus Naruto with all jutsu and Luffy with all devil fruits, right? We've probably all seen those before. So, over here on the Lightspeed Venus channel, we're going to be doing our own interpretation, our own version of it. We'll be doing Naruto with all jutsu, all abilities in the verse, right? Versus Ichigo with all abilities in the verse. So let's go ahead and head on over to Ichigo's abilities, and then in the next video we'll be talking about Naruto's. Let's get right to it.
We're basically going to go over Ichigo with every ability in Bleach, every Bankai, Shikai that's useful, every Sternritter ability, obviously.
Every Espada ability, Fullbring ability, so basically everything. So
Basically, that's useful, counting
yeah,
uh, Orihime's ability,
yeah, we're
stuff like
gonna
that.
obviously not have him like do abilities like whatever the Elderucto, whatever Chad uses, because it's not really that useful.
Obviously, the Almighty. Everybody probably knows what the Almighty is. Future sight, alters the future. Anything you see in the future, you can't be affected by. Pretty standard. Everybody probably knows that. X-axis, spatial piercing, and basically intangibility, AP bypassing, durability essentially, infinite speed almost. Next thing is event reversal, or basically durability negation with antithesis. You can just stop your ability for a second, essentially. Got the visionary, basically turns imagination to reality. Probably most people know that. Make clones of himself, and basically standard. Got the fear, and fear inducement, and as not ability. Can use the fear inside anybody, regardless if they know it or not. Turn it against them. Got the balance, it's basically probability manipulation in a way of misfortune redirection. Can make you experience bad luck at higher degrees than normal. You got the compulsory, which is governs evolution and is auto nerve manipulation. Basically can evolve even after death or through death itself. We got the death dealing, which is Askin's ability. The lethal dose control, essentially poison manipulation. Can poison your ability and change his own Ryatsu or chakra, whatever you want to say, power, every second essentially, multitude times. We got Koge's ability, the jail, which is basically a prison of reishi or matter, whatever you want to say, and you can't escape unless you're literally a Quincy or just massively powerful in him. We got the love, which is induced infatuation, makes you love Ichigo or an ability for that matter. We got the superstar, which is basically the ability to whoever is cheering him on gets more powerful. The more you cheer for him, literally Ichigo will get, which he could do. There are people around him, essentially. We got yourself, Royaloid's ability can create literally the same copy of the person he's fighting, or even the memories, everything basically about the person he can copy or alter it to himself. We got the wind, which is basically every weapon or everything it bends around him, kind of like Gojo, but probably not as powerful. And we got the glutton, which is basically more he consumes, stronger he gets, essentially. We got Bombieta's ability, the explode, or Bombieta. He's literally bomb. Everything that basically comes contact to or reishi essentially turns into a bomb or explodes. And we got the underbelly, which basically is more durability negation, kind of like 64 trigrams, like in Naruto. Kind of this. Like shuts down your chakra pass or Ryatsu in a way. And basically got the viability, which allows him to actively absorb reishi around him and deconstruct it, which basically is just like matter manipulation. And another one is Vanishing Point, his final ability that's probably notable, are going to help him in this fight. It's basically allows him to become intangible more so than he is, and all the way to the point of being non-existent even from a person's memories. Some notable abilities are basically the question, one called the question, basically allows him to basically, as soon as he speaks to a person, he can control them by asking him a question, essentially, kind of like an Ace Attorney ability. Other standard Quincy abilities that basically any Quincy has is like Blue Artery, Blue Vein. Those are basically allow him to tank more attacks, basically their ability. Ranso 10 guy. Yeah, Ranso 10 guy. This is basically allows him kind of control his body parts like a puppeteer with the reishi strings or strings of reishi. Got Shadow, allows him to move through shadows, and teleportation through shadows or separate dimension, whatever you want to say. Those are basically like the main abilities Quincy's that it'll have from the Quincy sides, besides full standings, which we'll go over in the video. Against Naruto versus Ichigo, we'll do Naruto side obviously after this video.
Indeed. Yeah, they're very a lot of abilities from the Sternritters that are just problematic, I'd say. You know.
Most of these Sternritter's abilities are also passive. Some of these
Yeah.
abilities are basically literally can only activate like the miracle if he dies.
Yeah, and then there's the overkill, which, you know, every time he kills something, he gets stronger, you know.
Right.
Aren't really useful until he actually uses them in a fight.
Right. And questionable, like we're gonna go with the head canon since this is already like theoretical, not really canon anyway. We're just gonna go with the assumption that he can use multiple of these abilities at the same time. Like, you know, there's no reason for him to not just be able to use the miracle or not be able to just revive. Because, oh, well, he has to also use the miracle. He can't use the miracle on top of the Almighty or something, right?
True. Especially with, like, the Sternritter abilities and, like, hollow powers and stuff. Like, most of them is, like, toxics to each other, you know? So that would be...
One thing that he probably won't be able to stack on top is probably more of these Fullbring Abilities.
Yeah.
And, like, Bankai Abilities and Shikai Abilities won't be able to really stack with most of the time.
Yeah, that's why headcanon, he's just gonna be able to do without whatever. So
most of these Quincy abilities are gonna be stackable.
Yeah, because most of them are, you know, can be used in tandem. But either way. Next up is his Espada abilities. First is Arrogante. That's Baragon's ability. He, like the black mist that kills everything around him with accelerated time, and obviously the area around him, his body, anyways, that you immediately start rapping.
Way better decay than Shikai.
Oh yeah, exactly. It basically just deletes you with rapid aging, and you just turn to dust. Kind of like what happened with Soy Phone. That's exactly what would happen. Next is Los Lobos, which is Stark's ability. You know, not really anything too crazy, just wolf pack generation with his, like, that are all the parts of his soul, you know, with Lilith or whatever, I forgot her name. Either way, the green haired girl. Arcielago, which is obviously Ucleora. He would gain like Lanza del Rampagro and instant regen. He is probably like the best regen probably in the show. That's give or take, you know, so a couple of people, so he wouldn't really gain much from him. And the Brugeria, I'm blanking on his name, but that's like the guy with all the eyes. He can basically, you know, like if he sees you.
Oh, that's Zamari.
Yeah, Zamari. Yeah, you just like if he sees you, you can't really do anything. So
that could kind of be, that might be able to be stacked with Asnod's ability. So.
Yeah, and last one is Cornicaris. That's Xylalel. Basically, he just can't die. He has a bunch of abilities that make it
more type of immortality.
Yeah,
not like Ichigo would have every type of immortality with this.
Yeah, he would just basically be able to like be reborn through a bunch of different ways and stuff. So
basically xenomorph ability.
Yeah, like he just gets reborn. Quote unquote, it states that
he literally chest busts.
Yeah, it impregnates quote unquote the opponent, and then you know, he's a weird guy. Next is the Fullbringer, which honestly probably have like some of like one of them is like one of the craziest abilities in the show, which is the Book of the End, which is Tsukishima's ability, and it's a problem. Can insert himself, or obviously in this case Ichigo, into the past of whatever it cuts, and can render enemies unable to fight back against him. If he cuts you in any way, you basically can't fight him. Next is Invaders Must Die, which is Yokio's ability, and that's basically dimension manipulation. He has complete control over them, time manipulation, and all that. He can fast forward in there and you just die. So basically rapid aging. And then he has obviously the advanced version of that and all that. Jackpot and Knuckle, which is more probability manipulation. And then I guess the most important one is Shunshin Rika, which is Orihime's ability with the Saten Keshun and Soten Kishun and Koten Zashun, and she also has a Shiten Koshun, which is an automatic, like a barrier that automatically counters. So we've pretty much seen all of Orihime's abilities, so it's really.
If you think Orihime's weak in any way,
Yo,
don't even watch this video.
Yo, episode 21 of the anime, she blocks the fucking cleaner, so it's a problem. But all right, next up is probably gonna take the longest. It's the Shikai and Bankai ability.
All right, so for the first and obviously the strongest and best Bankai, Sanka no Tananshi, Yamamoto's ability, we're giving him both Shikai and Bankai. Basically allows Ichigo to existence erasure people with just like his sword alone. Just hitting them will existence erasure him around him. He can get existence erasured. Basically with another part of his Bankai west, Sanka no Tanchi west and east, he'll be able to create trillions of souls, or basically anybody he kills, he can resurrect with his Bankai ability. And obviously we got Kyoka Suigetsu. Probably literally one of the most broken abilities in all of Bleach. Just Kyoka Suigetsu alone basically dumpsters everybody in the entire show that we've seen. Literally Yuha gets folded by it, and nobody else could do that to Yuha, so just having Kyoka alone basically makes Ichigo massive problem for basically anybody.
Next is Katen Kyoketsu. Karamatsu Shinju is Shunsui's Shikai and Bankai. There's a lot of stuff to go over with this one, but I'm just gonna keep it simple. His Shikai basically lets child's games or like kids games come into real life. He did the one against Stark where like whatever like color he chooses is like the color that color of clothing is like the one that'll do the most damage to you, whatever. And there's a whole bunch of other ones. Obviously he has his full Bankai, which is all the acts, like the play and all that. I'm not gonna go into full detail because there's a lot to go over. So yeah,
we're taking an entire video to go over most of these guys' abilities in depth.
We gotta summarize them all up real fast. I almost forgot about Minazuki. Minazuki is Unohana's ability. She can basically kill and revive you over and over again. She can basically damn near just not be killed. She will heal for pretty much everything. We don't really need to talk about that. Senbon Zakura Kagayoshi is pretty self-explanatory. It's probably one of the most iconic fucking Bankais in the fucking series. You know it. We've all seen Byakuya use it against, Ichigo multiple times. So
next we got Tozen's Bankai. Crazy name, Sushumi, Suzuki, Sushishika, whatever, blah blah blah. Tozen's Bankai. Basically turns his opponent blind and deaf, Helen Keller style, no joke. Yeah, and he could just do that as a massive area effect, essentially. And we got next is Rukia's Bankai ability, Shikai. This is basically gonna be almost a notable ability. It's questionable whether, like, if Ichigo did use this, would he be able to like move after it, like unlike Rukia could? Like obviously when she used her Bankai, she wasn't capable of moving after, or otherwise her body would have like shattered. This ability would be more like, it wouldn't really be used like versatile as any of these other abilities.
Yeah, especially the next one, which is Toshiro's Shikai and Bankai, Daigerin, Hyorin Maru.
Like the least versatile, and the next is literally the most versatile.
Yeah, Daigerin, Hyorin Maru is easily the most versatile. Like his Shikai abilities, there's so many. I'm just not gonna go over it.
Literally does everything.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna go over his Shikai abilities because there's so many. Like kind of like Katen Kyoketsu, there is like we can make a whole video on it if we wanted to, but it's not really like most of them aren't really that notable for this anyways. His Bankai abilities are obviously like separated in between his incomplete and his complete version. Honestly, the most notable one for his incomplete Bankai is that he can quite literally make a almost real ice clone that even bleeds. Like that would be the most notable of his like premature Bankai abilities. And obviously with his complete Bankai abilities, he can quite literally freeze all matter. So it's kind of a very big problem. And then another very intricate and complex ability, I guess you can call it Zanpakuto Shikai or whatever, Shirafude Ichimonji, Ichibei's Zanpakuto, because it doesn't even have a Bankai release. It has just the release because it's not, it was made before any Bankai was
constant release.
Yeah, it's a constant release. Obviously with Ichibei's abilities, he has the power of just black. Very funny. Like basically the ink can take away and give names and all that. Fight against like Yuha, for example, he quite literally made him into a black ant. He gained the power and just like the stat of a black ant. Obviously we all know what happened with Yuha. And then his it's called a Shunichi or Shinuchi or whatever. That also gives him like, it's just like a more amped version of it. So
next, oh, this is gained Bankai. Alright, so next we got gained Bankai. Basically, his first stage of his ability is to obviously extend his sword to insane lengths, like city cutting lengths. He can literally slice entire cities apart with just extending the sword alone. And basically his Bankai ability is it leaves like a fragment of his sword inside of him, and it's like a super ultra instant kill poison. Literally could kill like second or third transcendent Aizen, which like after this is like an Aizen after fighting like literally Urahara Yorichi
and Ishin,
yeah, like literally in games capable of killing him technically. So just his Bankai ability alone, like if Ichigo cuts you with his Bankai ability, like it's basically game over. Another literal instant kill ability, ironically, right after this is Toifon's ability. Like your Shikai ability is the more useful one here actually. To literally Negeki Katsatsu, whatever, right? Literally taps you 2 times and you're straight up dead. Instant dead. Unless your Aizen, just doesn't matter. You're just Chad like that. And obviously we got our Bankai ability, which is more just not useful too much in this fight, but
yeah,
nonetheless could just nuke people
pretty much.
you really want it.
Yeah. Oh, one more I almost forgot is Shinji's ability, like his Bankai and stuff. Basically, his Shikai would like basically invert all senses, because we've seen him use it against Aizen and him quickly adapt to it. Then his Bankai inverts perception of all enemies and allies on the field, and they just all fight each other. So that's why his ability is forbidden to be used, kind of like Shunsui's. They're both very situation oriented. So, and obviously in this fight we're probably just it's gonna be a one-on-one, so it's not really gonna be that useful, but it's notable anyways. Yeah, I think that's all the abilities he would gain, if I'm correct. Yeah, like there's a lot of shit that we're like basically nulling from this video because there would be too much to talk about. We'd be here for like hours talking about every single ability in Bleach.
I mean, when we do the versus battle, we have to go over like all the other stuff.
We have more stuff, but this video was just for the stuff he has.